Aid agencies are stepping up efforts to reach remote communities hit by Cyclone Pam, which tore through the Pacific archipelago of Vanuatu. At least 8 people are reported to have died, and it is feared the toll could rise as news comes in from outlying islands. Thousands of people spent a second night in shelters after their homes were damaged or destroyed. Oxfam Australia said entire communities had been blown away. The Category 5 storm, with winds of up to 270 km per hour, 170 miles per hour, veered off its expected course and struck populated areas on Friday night. Vanuatu's population of 267,000 is spread over 65 islands with about 47,000 people living in the capital, Port Vila. In a statement on Sunday, Oxfam Australia said up to 90% of housing in Port Vila had reportedly been seriously damaged. The scale of humanitarian need will be enormous, and the proud people of Vanuatu are going to need a lot of help to rebuild their homes and their lives. Immediate priorities, he said, were providing shelter, clean water, and sanitation. Port Vila's airport has been closed since the cyclone struck, but officials said they hoped it might partly reopen on Sunday to allow in the first relief planes. A UN disaster assessment team is due to arrive in Vanuatu in the coming hours. One toilet between 300. Mark Leroux, of the Adventist Development and Relief Agency, told the BBC the situation in Port Vila was pretty grim. We have 20 evacuation centers with about 2,000 people in them. Some of our evacuation centers have up to 300 people sharing one toilet, he said. Chloe Morrison, an emergency communications officer with World Vision in Port Vila, said residents had woken to much calmer weather on Sunday. She said communications were still down in many areas and her group had been unable to account for many of its 76 staff members on the islands. She said it would have been a very, very tough time for anyone not in a secure shelter during the cyclone. Earlier, Vanuatu's President Baldwin Lonsdale made an impassioned plea for international help. I am speaking to you today with a heart that is so heavy, he said at the UN's World Conference on Disaster Risk and Reduction in Japan. I stand to appeal on behalf of the government and the people to give a helping hand in this disaster. The extent of the devastation is unlikely to be known for several days, said Tom Skuro, Save the Children's Vanuatu country director. Unconfirmed reports on Saturday said 44 people had died in Pinama province in the northeast of Vanuatu, according to the UN's Office for the Coordination for Humanitarian Assistance, UNOCHA. Australia says it is preparing to send a crisis response team to Vanuatu if needed. New Zealand pledged NZ$1M, £500,000, $741,000, the EU promised €1 million, £710,000, and the UK said it would give up to £2 million in aid. Pam had already caused major damage on other Pacific islands, including Kiribati and the Solomon Islands. Tuvalu, a group of 9 tiny islands northeast of Vanuatu, also declared a state of emergency after the cyclone caused flash floods there. Map showing islands in the South Pacific at threat from Cyclone Pam, March 13, 2015.